What made our country great when it was first founded. People in the United States, they knew what their government was about. They knew why their government was the way it was. They knew what was going on. Everybody was informed. There's a gentleman named Alex Tocqueville that wrote a wonderful book, Democracy in America. And he was a French fellow that was curious why America's republic was thriving when every other republic in the history of the world had failed. And he came to America, he spent a lot of time here pre-Civil War, and he came to a lot of conclusions. But one of the things that really amazed him was the fact that everybody, from the farmer to the lawyer, knew about politics, especially the local politics. They knew who they were going to vote for, they knew why they were going to vote for this person, they knew what everybody was doing at every level of government. And they discussed this while they were planting crops. They discussed this while they were making horseshoes and doing what they did back then. And it simply amazed him, and he recognized that that was the reason our republic was functioning so well. My name is Bill Gunn. I'm running for U.S. Representative in the 1st Congressional District of Massachusetts. My opponent is John Oliver. The reasons I chose to run are numerous, but primarily the passage of the health care reform bill, the passage of the stimulus packages, the passage of the bailouts, the increase in taxes that are coming, the hyperinflation that has to come. We've been printing money like it's going out of style, and inflation has to hit. Mr. Oliver will vote to further cap and trade. He will vote for any tax increase. He will vote for any government spending increase. I will not. And I know that our government, our country is bleeding right now. We're bleeding in the form of our debt. We can't sustain this. Our way of life is in danger. More so, our children's way of life is in danger. We're leaving a legacy for our children that we should be very ashamed of. They're going to be cursed with a life of mediocrity and a life of debt because of what we're doing today. We can stop it. It's not too late. We can stop it. But it's going to take the election of people that are willing to put their country first over their own self-serving desires and needs. It's going to take that on a local level, from your mayor, your state reps, your governors, your federal reps, and your president. People need to put this country first. When our country was founded, the founding fathers often talked about moral people. And they didn't mean moral people in that everybody had the same social moral. They meant by moral people that cared about their country. When they talked morality, they were talking about people that put the need of their country first. They never intended for career politicians to legislate and be members of the executive branch. They meant for citizen representatives to represent people, especially in the House of Representatives. The way Congress was designed, there are two houses. There's the Senate. Originally, senators were appointed by the state legislatures. In the House of Representatives, which there is a certain number of representatives for every so many people. And the House of Representatives is supposed to most closely represent the people. In other words, it's supposed to be people like us that represent our district. It's not supposed to be career politicians. They lose touch. It happens to everyone when they get up there. When you put a person in a corrupting situation, eventually they're going to be corrupted. I will serve no more than 3 terms as a representative for that very reason. One of the first things I want to do when I get elected is to repeal the health care bill. It needs to be. We can't make the bill better. We can't make it palatable for Republicans. It just needs to be repealed. And we need to do that with a lot of legislation. The longer it takes to get elected, the more we're going to have to work on. But now we have financial reform. That financial reform bill is poison to industry in this country. It's nothing more than a bailout without having to ask Congress for permission to use that money any longer. We have to reduce the debt. And I know a lot of people talk about this. But it's very simple to do. I'm starting to do it in my own household. I stopped spending money. My debt is being reduced. We can do the same thing at the federal level. Macroeconomics and microeconomics look awfully familiar. But we can do the same thing at the federal level. I propose cutting spending on every budget at the federal level. And when I say every budget, I mean budgets that Republicans like, budgets that Democrats like. Every budget needs to be cut. Some budgets need to be cut to the point that they no longer exist. Most of the executive departments can be abolished, and our country wouldn't even blink an eye. Life would go on. As a matter of fact, it probably go on a little bit better than it is right now. I'm adamantly opposed to the Department of Education. I'm adamantly opposed to the Department of Energy, the EPA, and the Department of Agriculture. That's a good place to start, eliminating departments. Along with the reduction in spending, we need a reduction in taxes. By reducing taxes, reducing regulation, we will stimulate the economy. We will stimulate the business to actually invest and to grow. There is a graph, and I keep meaning to bring it to these things because it's totally telling. This graph shows government revenue adjusted for inflation. And from the mid-1800s, it's a steady line. It doesn't really increase or really decrease. When you superimpose the rates of taxation over this, that looks like a sine wave running at the same time. And it simply goes to show that government revenue is almost independent of taxation, or the rate of taxation. It goes to show that taxation is primarily punitive and redistributive in nature. It is nothing more than a social experiment or a way to impose one's social will upon the populace, especially when it's a progressive income tax. We have an income tax today that's linked to our paychecks. And what that allows Congress to do is to play favorites. It allows Congress to look at you and say, I like the way you behave, I like the way you vote. I'm not going to take as much of your paycheck. You, sir, I don't like the way you vote. I'm going to take some of yours. And that's exactly what they do. If we can disengage taxation from our paychecks and possibly put it into a national sales tax instead, we put a firewall, if you will, between politicians and the taxpayers. And it also ensures that everybody pays taxes. From a person that makes very little, they're going to pay some taxes because when they buy non-essential items, they're going to pay some tax. Where a person that makes a lot of money or is making a lot of money is going to pay more tax simply by virtue of the fact that they're buying more stuff, so they're paying more tax. So everybody should be happy with that. You've got the progressives that should be happy because those making the most money are paying the most tax. And it makes conservatives happy because everybody's involved. And when a congressman stands up and says, I've got a street that I'd like to build, and I want it to be named the Bill Gunn Street, and I want golden sidewalks, it's going to cost a lot of money, but that's okay. I can tax you all for it. Right now, 49% of the people in the country don't pay taxes, federal income tax, whatsoever. So when I have to raise the federal income tax to pay for my golden sidewalks, 49% of the people in this country automatically don't care. They say, go ahead and raise our taxes. If we have a sales tax where everybody's paying taxes, the moment I say I'm going to raise your taxes, well over 90% of the people in this country are going to say, wait, we need to really rethink this. Is this absolutely necessary? And the golden sidewalk